Welcome, my beautiful souls, to another edition. Sorry, get the frog out of the throat of the Soul Surgery, my beautiful souls collective oracle reading. So, this week, as you always know, we have a God's card. Kaboom! This is where we're looking at the energies of what's activated right now, which parts of ourselves we should be working on, if you want to say it like that, or can harness. We look at it in the form of deities, and then we look on some astrological aspects to see what's going on in our current lives in the mundane, and then we're over to looking at the yogic path to get some form of action or direction, right, of how we can pull all of this whatever's going on in the realm of life, basically pull it down into some sort of principle or action which will enable us to cross some sort of threshold, my beautiful souls. So we're using the Auset Oracle deity card, and I think it's called, where is it, the African Gods Oracle, to get the principles of what aspects of ourselves are currently awoken. So we've got 3 cards today. We normally have 1, but it is what it is, yo. When I did shuffle the deck, 3 came out. So starting with the god Nut, stars and timing, my beautiful souls. So Nut is one of the, you could say, one of the first gods. She represents, they would say, space, but really and truly she represents the infiniteness of space, right? Or infinity, or infiniteness in itself. So her ability is the expanses. So if we understand that there was 2 gods that were created, or the first 2 primal gods that were created were Shu and Tefnut. Shu being the thermal energy, right, or the uprising or the awakening of the life force, if you want to call it that, and then which translate into the mundane element of air, my beautiful souls, or space itself. Not the expansiveness or the infinite of space, but the essence of space that allows for things to exist, right? And then there was also this aspect of, which was called Shu, sorry, and then we had the other goddess called Tefnut, and Tefnut represented the moisture, you could say the hydrating principle, which allows for life to flourish, right, to be called balanced, harmonized, integrated, right, which translates into the mundane element of water or moisture, right? So these 2 principles were one principle that separated, that came together, right? And then their togetherness gave birth to the concept of Nut. So what Nut was representing is that saying that there was a primordial ocean of inert energy and matter that was unstimulated, that existed, but it had no form. And they knew that to be the Nun, or the Nu. So through the 2 principles that I explained, which you can relate back to the Big Bang, you find that there is a principle of creating the 2 dynamics of life, tangible and intangible, creating the space, right, for things to exist. So Nut and Geb was created, and then in their embrace, they had to be separated in order to allow there to be a physical manifestation, right, of life, and then for that life to exist in the, you could call it, in the Nut, in space itself, just like the earth that's anchored inside space, right, which created 2 different parallels. So Nut is, yes, the stars and the timing. Spiritually, she represents ascension, because her partner Geb represented the earth. It was almost like through our ignorance, you could say, through our forgetfulness of our divine heritage, our lineage, we go through these many different processes and get caught up in the dynamics of the flesh, the Geb energy of survival, right? And that chains us to the earth, and to these repetitive karmic incarnations. So, right, to release that, we have to obviously ascend. And that ascension can also be related to the energies of Nut, or the concept of Nut. So representing a higher level of your consciousness, my beautiful souls. Nut can also represent astrology, right? Being able to understand that the universe works through a form of time in cycles, right? She represents that through the interplay of the life force. It was said that the life force Ra travels in his boat through Nut, so you can see where the sun and the moon are. It's showing a cycle from what we call sunrise and sunset is actually the cycle of the life force going through a process of awakening, dying, replenishing, awakening, dying, replenishing. Do you understand? Which is basically what we class as sunset, middays, sunrise, midday, sunset. Do you know what I'm saying? Nighttime, and then again, my beautiful soul. So those are the concepts of Nut. So at the moment, she's going to say that we need to be focused on our spirituality, right? Remember, spirituality is the cultivation of the self. So allowing yourself to reach the highest levels of your consciousness, releasing your energies from survival, basically, right? This is what she really represents, right? And it's saying that things or life happens in their stages, and we have to respect those stages moving forward, because if we don't respect the time to sleep, then we burn out. If we don't respect the time to be active and do work, then we achieve nothing. Do you understand? So that cycle of life is a balance, and it's a balancing of the life force. So again, she's adhering back to us paying attention to the life force. But as you can see with the cosmos, there is a complete gateway. It's almost, she's saying there's a channel from you to the whole universe, to you, your cosmic genetics, your cosmic lineage, right? There is no separation between you and what you may call divine, God, consciousness, source, right? She is that remembrance, right? And also in the sense of what you're trying to achieve in the here and now. There is no limitation, my beautiful soul. The only limitation is the survival personality, which will limit you and inhibit you into believing that you are this person or that person, and you can only do this and you can't do that, or you suffer from fear or shyness or whatever social responsibilities or cultural responsibilities or belief systems that you want to live by. Kaboom! Ooh, Ma'at. Yes. So now we've got Ma'at, right? Ma'at represents, let's say, cosmic justice. It's saying that everything within the universe, for there to be life, there has to be some sort of coordination or coherence or balance. So we understand that there's one consciousness, right, that inevitably created all life, or was the source of all life. Within that, there was a blueprint that needed to follow. So there's archetypes of what life would look like or what life could be, right? So all of these differences have to be harmonized in order for us to exist. So that's like having the human system and the ecosystem, the sun, the solar system. All of these systems have to be coordinated and be working in such a harmonic way to be able to create this unique existence which we call life, my beautiful souls. So that is originally the concept of Ma'at. She also represents the different aspects on the tree of life, right? Meaning all the different spheres. Each sphere is a configuration of consciousness and energy, right? So she represents, by adhering to those natures, you adhere to those aspects within yourself, you awaken those aspects and those faculties within yourself. So understanding the rules or the temperaments or the natures of the deities and embodying those deities, you awaken that vibration, personality, energy state within yourself. So then she also represents the 42 laws, right, which she created, which represent harmony between man and woman, or between strangers, or just within your community, my beautiful soul. So her energy of coherence, right, is saying that we need to understand that everything happens for a reason, right? Everything must be understood. There cannot be an enemy. Self cannot be against self, right? So every experience that you go through, right, is happening for a reason, whether you want to see it or you understand it. It's when you don't understand it, it's probably because there's resistance. You're still seeing the world through a segregative eye, through your personality, through your ego, through your emotional programming, which is a defense mechanism. So your personality is still in that defensive mode, my beautiful souls. So that's what Ma'at represents. She also ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter's always about expansion and regulation. In this sense, Jupiter's energy is going through a level of regulation by understanding the underlying principles or similarities between all things, which allows for there to be an external differences, because the internal unity already exists. So this is going beyond the archetypes of someone's color, race, creed, religion, right? Or even within your own self, you saying, you confining yourself to a specific role, right, my beautiful souls? Very interesting message coming through this week. Okay, and then we've got the African god, the Orisha or Odu, called Owarin. I'm going to read this one, my beautiful souls, because I think this one, with the message that just came through, I think it's quite fitting. Good luck is only one step ahead. Look at the color, the vibrancy, the confidence, the sword to cut through the confusion, the lies, the deceit, all of that, all of those things, the ability to see the lesson that's posed before you, to face the challenge, to be aroused and awoken in relation to purpose or a desire that you have, right, my beautiful souls? You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna read you the dynamic. So this Odu relates to the Orisha, Ishu, Oya, and Ogun, and they also relate to the Kemetic gods Sebek and Nekabit, Rahu, Ketu, and Haru Kuti. So this is mixing up the mental processes, right, intellect, intelligence with our energy, like fire energy. So mixing Mercury and Mars energy, basically, my beautiful souls, and the psychic forces. So keywords: communicative, makes friends easy, tendency to acquire wealth in youth, ability to start over, like the phoenix, good heart, born entrepreneur, natural beauty, good luck, brave and stubborn, pursues goals. How nice it would be to recognize that good luck has always accompanied you, even during the biggest storms. With the positive regency of Odu Owarin, self-confidence is your trademark, determination to achieve goals, your life's motto. This urgency announces the continuation of winning cycles, giving the strength to conquer prominent positions and even greater goals. So this is how you face your adversity. Is not by picking up the sword and calling out the enemies, right? Is increasing your own sense of self-worth, right? Self-understanding, right? That comfortability in your own skin, which ends up boosting your self-confidence, my beautiful souls. No matter what happens with your intelligence and creativity, you feel like a phoenix rising from the ashes, even more beautiful, ever stronger. Now, this is how you wake up every day and insist on pursuing your dreams urgently. After all, tomorrow is always uncertain. So what this is saying, right, in this dynamic, I'm going to go on, is that this is a choice, my beautiful souls. This is a personality, an archetype, right, that spirit requires us to step into. It's almost like you're mixing in the philosopher, the rebel, and the warrior, right? But the rebel is fighting for a cause, right? And it's all of those archetypes are being awoken inside of you right now, my beautiful souls. Living every second to the extreme at a speed that only you are able to keep up. You don't wait for anything and prefer to pay the price. How about slowing down to enjoy the scenery? Meaning that take initiative. Don't get lost in contemplation and trying to find answers. Sometimes answers come through taking action, or I should say there is a season for contemplation and reflection, and then there's a season for straight action, which this is what that Harakuti, or that fire red energy that you can see, will allow you to purge or push back or evaporate the moistness of empathy, right? The need, or feeling the need to have to understand everything that you feel or do, or what other people's intentions are, and trying to satisfy that. Do you understand? If spirit never had the opposite of empathy, right, we wouldn't be able to achieve. If empathy never was included, all we had was fire, we would know no rest. We would know no cohesion. my beautiful soul. So it's a balance. The influence of Orisha's Oya and Ishu also bring good luck in business and ease in generating and managing wealth. So it is time to invest in your professional plans and skills. Destiny's calling, yo. Purpose calling, yo. You know how to delegate tasks, acting with excellence in times, especially in charge of them. Your dreams and plans are big and point to infinity. There's that nut energy right there. Do not limit. Start. Think big, my beautiful souls. Know you are abundant, right? Your soil is infinite in what it can create. Is so fertile. And that is your ideas. It starts with your ideas. Ideas is creation, my beautiful soul. Where did we get to? Right, so your dreams and plans are big and point to infinity, but in your eagerness to see them fulfilled, you may end up taking on responsibilities that are not yours. Be careful, because when everything is going well and you can get the impression that there are no dangers, naivety is your weak point and you risk becoming the victim of freeloaders. This is why, my beautiful souls, we had to go through an empathy purging, right? And this empathy purging for some people has forced them into isolation, has forced them to still see that there are enemies. Your enemies are a rock to sharpen your sword. Your sword is yourself, is your divinity, is your sense of self, right, my beautiful souls? So we had to be able to go through a process of understanding the difference between showing understanding and us kind of, it's like a form of bypassing our sense of worth or true self by limiting our true self-expression or our true feelings or our true desires for the sake of somebody else. But this is not the true way to wield that energy. But now, right, the focus is you've learned the lesson. So now it's time to take action, right? But don't overcompensate, be over-explaining, right? Because that will just get you, that will put you back into the old cycle. That's that naivety. So this naivety is coming through a lack of self-worth. Basically, you're naive because you're still trying to appease or trying to fit in, which means you're still not looking on the uniqueness of yourself and or of whom you are and what you bring to the world, or the vessel that you are to channel into this world. Do you understand, my beautiful souls? And this is what I think Nut is really saying. There's a number of messages. It is a divine calling. It is a spiritual calling. The destiny is calling you to step into and see yourself through a true lens or true mirror. Reflect. Make sure your mirror reflects your true self or your heart. Balance might always will ask us for regulation in how we're dealing with internally our own energies. So how we handle our own energies as well as how we deal with other people. And again, this Owarian is saying that be confident in whom you are, what you can create, right? Understand cycles, pay attention to the stars, right? The different seasons, the movement of the planets. They can act as cues for what type of temperament or focus. So we know we're in Aquarius. So there should have been a detachment, ability to use your mind to analyze how you emotionally feel in different different areas, a sense of you taking back your power, a sense of rebellion, right? Being able to communicate your uniqueness, right? Do you know what I'm saying? A sense of the underdog rising, a sense of technology, genius, invention, because those all come under and a collective grouping together with like-minded souls. That's all Aquarius. So it moves into Pisces. It's about dissolving boundaries, right? So it's all about, and then the lesson of Pisces has been dissolving boundaries that are preventative from you expressing your true essence, which comes through putting in boundaries to block any kind of energy that is trying to manipulate your empathy or suck your energy or vampiric to your empathy. Do you understand? Which is going to allow you to now step out of your comfort in order to appease someone else, which is going to limitate you. So we can use that. Then it will move into Aries, which is again that whole self-focus, bringing it back to, it's like a reset. The cycle's gone through the whole process and it's gone through the death phoenix mode. And you'll have that around April. right? And there's a whole much more, we always go into. So let's look on astrological dynamics. Okay, what do we have? Decision. Mars, action in the third house, communication, neighbors, siblings. Gemini, definitely some form of mental play, curiosity. Mars, when he's in Gemini, is highly expressive. So we need to be expressive. Stop playing checkers and play chess. You get me? And if you're going to play chess, right, know that you're skillful. Learn the game. The third house is also learning, right? You've learned how to play the game. So Spirit's saying now, like, play the game. Go for the execution. Go for the kill. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're the hunter, right? If this is like, you got your arrow, your arrow pulled back, Spirit's saying, release the arrow. Yes, release the arrow, right? So you've learnt the game. Now you have a target, right? Release the arrow, hit your target, my beautiful souls. But definitely areas of, like I said, neighbors, siblings, early learning, school education, dealing with the public. So this could be in a public announcement, right? So it might come out in public. There could be an expression, somewhat maybe fiery, yeah, or impulsively. Don't have to be fiery, could just be impulsive. Could, like I say, declaration of what you want to do, where you want to go, right? Whom you want to work with. All of those dynamics are there, right, in that regards. But to me, symbolically, spiritually, this is literally a bow and arrow aspect. You are literally drawing back your arrow, and it means that you focused, like you've perfected your skill. You've got your target in sight. So this is literally just releasing that. And then you've got Mercury. So again, we're dealing with the mental processes, how we think, right? This is about innovation. Mercury in Aquarius. This gives you the ability to work from intuition as well. Mercury can channel intuition. So instead of channeling the emotions, it can open itself to a higher dynamic of its consciousness, right? So this is originality, right? In the sense of, if we remove the layers of their false empathy, of needing to fit in to society, into a circle, different groups, into family to appease, right? Then who would you be without the confines of these social expectations, right? So this is what it's saying. Allow yourself, even utilize technology with the whole Aquarius energy here, right? Social media, technology, finding new ways to achieve different tasks or problem solving, right? All of that energy there. This is definitely group work with the 11th house. So don't be afraid to, again, work with, it might be just that you might see that I no longer fit in the circle, like friendship circle or in the community that I grew up in. And now you're changing communities, you're changing friendship circles. You're getting people who are not here to just keep you in the same old dynamic, which actually keeps, because that actually keeps them secure in that old, in that dynamic of for themselves. So you being something different or changing actually threatens your community or your friendship groups. So instead of going through a form of conflict with them, which might mean what you have to, this is what I'm saying about playing this checkers thing. Nah, man, it's pointless. You might have to just change friendship circles, change communities. Like, I see foreign lands or foreign people interacting with people who you would never interact with, but this is where you find, I suppose, a sense of community. So it's the sense of community is changing, the sense of friendship is changing, my beautiful souls. Interesting dynamic. Let's see if we can just put these here. Boom. So, bam. So let's get to, Bhakti. If I remember rightly, so this is in the action area. So this is something that we could pay attention to or implement into our lives right now in order to amplify the lessons right now. So we have Bhakti, devotion. I will ask, what has what aspect of life has had a hold over you from childbirth till now? Has that been the need to have a family, a need to be successful, a need to have a certain amount of friends, be entertaining? There's something here that you're devoted to, and spirit's basically asking you to, why not devote yourself to spirit, which gives you the powers to manifest, the abilities to attract, infiniteness, no limitation. But then everything that's tangible in this world, if you devote yourself to it, or it becomes your sense of devotion. And this would be anything that you think about on a daily. So yeah, we all have that survival mindset because we need money and all of that kind of stuff. But whatever worries and doubts, that becomes what you're devoted to also. My point is that whatever it is, if it ain't spirit and the infiniteness of spirit, it's a limitation. And it has a hold over the true expression or the full expression or the abundance and your fertility, or you know what I'm saying, or your ability to release your fertility, my beautiful sense. So in a sense, you cannot see the fullness of yourself, your true potential, your true talents, your true gifts, or how to utilize all of those aspects. She's kind of been pushed into a bubble, but it's under the mask of devotion. I'm going to read it, my beautiful souls. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read the reverse, so that we understand the negative dynamic as it presents, and then we can see through the positive upright energy how this energy can be utilized. So in reverse, Bhakti, right, represents when you lose touch of the divine, life becomes meaningless. Our days lose color and words feel tasteless without this connection to source. How can you deepen your connection to divinity? Read the stories of the gods and the goddesses and choose ones whose medicines you need. Offer a meditation, a mantra, or prayer to this deity. Just this single act of devotion can shift your entire vibration and reconnect you to the source. Know that the whole of the universe is divine. The reason why they're saying to connect yourself to a deity, as opposed to, in a sense, pray to God, is because they have the understanding that the deity as without is as the same as within, right? So if I already told you that Nut already represents the limitlessness of your consciousness and your life force energy. Your life force energy is what is matter, and which is what everything that you experience and touch and feel in this world, from the physical body that you enjoy, right, to the things that you buy and indulge in, my beautiful souls, right? That's what Nut is representing, as well as the cycles and the timings, right? And Ma'at here is representing the ability to expand self by understanding the subtle underlying mechanisms that create life, that unite life, that harmonize life. Do you understand? So she gives you a synthetical thinking process. So instead of sitting in our analytical mind, constantly breaking shit down over and over again, she allows us to see patterns. When we can see patterns, we can override the patterns, or we can harness patterns, my beautiful souls. So, and then Owarin, again, is linking us back to the assertion or the realignment of our personality. So instead of our personality fabricating an illusion, right, to defend us through as a defense mechanism because of traumas we've experienced in the past, this now allows us to channel direct knowing, right, through intuition, which gives us conviction, gives us courage, right, my beautiful souls, which diminishes the doubt, the overthinking, which is a byproduct of the personality, because the personality is an illusion. It's a defense mechanism. Kaboom! Jeez, right. I'm going to read you the devotional side. You have begun walking on the path of devotion, bhakti yoga. You are devoted to something greater than yourself, your body, your possessions, or your desires. This dedication is to the divine. Now is the time to ask yourself, what does divinity mean to me? When do I feel close to the divine? Paths to Bhakti Yoga include kirtan, devotional mantras, meditations or prayers to the gods and goddesses, offering service to those in need and spending time in nature. The selfless path of Bhakti Yoga takes you to the greatest ecstasy of all, the bliss of devoting yourself to spirit. So, again, this is not praying and bowing heads to gods. The devotion to spirit is by understanding the dynamics of life, understanding the essence of whom you are. The most beautiful axiom is know thyself. Right? Through knowing thyself, one can control thyself and one can create, because you are a creative being, right? So that is how you devote, right? It's not about worship, it's about invocation, it's about stimulation, awakening faculties dormant within yourself, talents, and also, my beautiful souls. So it's saying that we don't have to hide behind these characteristics of being shy or being having uncontrollable urges. It's giving us back the control, the freedom from our programming, right, to achieve. But first we have to understand the dynamics of what we are. It's exploratory at this moment, right? But there is an aspect of this life that you currently understand. Like, there is a part of you that you know what you want, you know what you feel, but you've just not given yourself the red light, the green light, sorry, right? You've been on the red light. You haven't given yourself the green light to execute. There is many different excuses which we validate through the sense of or need of survival. But if we strip ourselves of all of those excuses and the need of survival and open ourselves as creators that we are, right? If we knew that all we needed to do was have an idea, right? And we needed to visualize this idea, right? Continue to do this. That's all we needed to do in order to move the universe, because me and the universe are one and the same. Right, my beautiful souls. But they've taught us that wealth and abundance comes through hard, strenuous work. But that's not true, because the richest people on the earth do not do the most strenuous work. The people who do the most strenuous work on this earth are normally the people who are the poorest, right? So again, it's a mindset. And I'm going to leave it there, because I'm going to go in and in, my beautiful souls. But what would it look like if you was to remove the mask of social expectations? If you was to remove the mask of limitation? If you was to remove the mask of social judgment, my beautiful souls? If you knew that all you had to do, your will be done. Your will moves mountains. All we're lacking is is confidence to not even achieve, is the confidence to just have a dream. Boom, my beautiful souls. Yes, that is me, Auset Furion. This is the House of Nu. Check us out next week. My TikTok is house, HOUS.NU. No, sorry, OF.NU of Nu. Look out for my book, Living as Auset. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, which will be released around March, April times, my beautiful souls. And that is all about spiritual cultivation, self-initiation, my beautiful souls. Mixing up all of that with ancient Kemetic spiritual science, esoteric principles, astrology, some stuff about Schumann resonances. Yeah, we're mixing it up, my beautiful souls. Until then, love, peace, and we'll leave it there. Love and peace this week, my beautiful souls.